Hi, welcome back to Maximum Potential Schooling. I'm Zane Hoare, and today I'm going to run you through the what went well activity. Have you ever noticed that it doesn't matter how great a day you're having with so many great things happening, if one bad thing happens, it tends to be the thing that you focus on. You're not alone there, and the reason for that is that the human brain is actually hardwired to recognize negative events much more quickly and to remember them much more clearly than it does positive events. And we call this a negativity bias. And this negativity bias exists and comes down to us from our ancestors. It's actually part of our evolution that we evolved to have this negativity bias. And that might sound a little silly, but the reason for that is often the negative events were the events where the most learning could happen. And so an example event could be something like if you take yourself back to the plains of Africa and one of our common ancestors is strolling through the savannah and a great lion jumps out from behind a bush. It's a pretty scary situation, and depending on how that situation is handled, either the person will survive or not survive. And there's a key player in this part, and that's a small part of the brain called the amygdala. And the amygdala is responsible for your fight, flight, or freeze response. It's part of the emotional section of your brain. And when that lion jumps out, your amygdala will kick in, and it will cause you to react. And if you react in the right way, probably by fleeing or fighting, if you're able to actually kill the lion, then you will survive that event. If your amygdala reacts in the wrong way and you just freeze, you don't have the right reaction, then you're probably going to end up becoming lion food and you're not going to live to pass on any of your genes. What that means is that those of us who are around today, we are actually ancestors of people with really active amygdalas who are able to quickly analyze the situation and act in a reactionary way. Now, within that, the lesson out of that big negative event becomes the key learning for people. So they know what to do in that situation again. So the brain becomes hardwired to focus on these negatives. Now, whilst that was fantastic for helping us survive, or helping our ancestors survive back in the day, if we were to change that and have a look at ourselves today, some of the biggest stresses that we have today are things like tests and exams. Now, whilst I'll admit that sometimes they can be a little bit scary, I think we can all acknowledge that none of them are life-threatening. But our brain still views these negative things really quickly and still memorizes the negative events. And our amygdala still kicks in really quickly. And this really can set us up to have quite a negative mindset and can really send us into some realms of anxiety and along that path. So what we want to do here is, through this activity, is actually to change things up and to help to calm the amygdala, but also to focus on some positives. Now, you're already well on your way to learning some habits around calming the amygdala and bringing yourself into a calmer situation. And that's one of the key players, and that is the targeted breathing activities we do. So last month we looked at box breathing, and this month we're looking at alternate nostril breathing. And both of those breathing practices are really good for calming the amygdala. And so that will look after that area. The what went well activity is a way for us to highlight the things that go well in our day to help try and balance that negativity bias. So to actually bring our attention to what were the positive events. And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to add an element into our evening ritual. So every night when you sit down for your evening ritual, you're going to take part in the box breathing as normal. Again, just to calm yourself down and remove any stresses from there. You're still going to observe your thoughts and employ the guardian of the mind. But in amongst that also, when it comes time to journal, you're actually going to journal down 3 things, or at least 3 things, that went really well for you that day. And they can be big things or they can be small things. It might be that you aced a test at school, or that you had a great conversation with a friend, or that you had the most amazing lunch, or that potentially you saw a beautiful sunrise or sunset. Whatever it is, how big or how small, it doesn't matter. But you're going to focus on the positive things. So at least 3 things that went well. And through doing this, we're actually going to be training the brain to shift its focus to look for positive events rather than look for negative events. So from here, what I would like you to do is go and read the What Went Well text so you can get a deeper understanding of this activity, and then start to employ that as of tonight through your evening ritual. Good luck, train hard.